If you think silence is passive, you've misunderstood power itself. You need to burn that into your mind. Right now, the world doesn't reward the loudest, it rewards the most precise, the most deliberate, the ones who act with calculation, not noise. The most powerful people don't announce their next move, they move, while others are bragging, boasting, and begging for recognition. The powerful are planning, building that matters, and staying hidden, not because they're afraid that matters, but because they understand that silence is not weakness, it's strategy, it's discipline, is its dominance cloaked in stillness. When a man enters a room and says nothing but carries himself with intent, people matters. People notice. There's an unspoken tension in the air. That tension is power. Because when you're quiet, you're not exposing your mind. You're not revealing your fears, your plans, or your vulnerabilities. That matters. You're controlling the narrative by not offering one. And in a world where everyone is talking, the man who refuses to speak becomes the most interesting. The one everyone watches, the one everyone wonders about matters. That's leverage. You don't need to tell people who you are. You show them through results, through character that matters, through restraint. The insecure yell to prove their strength. The truly powerful don't need to. That matters. They already know who they are and they've got nothing to prove. Power doesn't have to scream to be felt. It just has to exist quietly, confidently, and relentlessly. Matters. And those who learn to harness the silence don't just become more respected, they become untouchable. That matters. The rich and powerful have figured this out. They don't argue in public. They don't reveal their hand. Matters. They let others underestimate them, distract themselves with meaningless debates. That matters. And waste time trying to look important. Meanwhile, they're moving with clarity and purpose, stacking wins that matters, building leverage and observing every weakness in the room. It's not arrogance, it's discipline, a refusal to be baited into the emotional chaos that consumes the average mind. Because when you talk too much, that matters. You give away your center, you lose your edge. Think about the most influential people you know. Yes, they speak with precision. They listen more than they speak. And when they do speak, it matters. That matters. There's weight behind every word. That weight isn't just in what they say, it's in what they don't say. Silence becomes their armor. It creates anticipation. People lean in to hear them. They don't have to raise their voice because the room is already quiet. But if you don't understand this, that matters. You'll spend your life trying to be heard by people who aren't even listening. That matters. You'll chase applause instead of growth. You'll give away your thoughts, your emotions. That matters. Your game plan for free to people who will never use them for your good. And worse, matters. You'll start to believe that being seen is more important than being solid, that being loud means you're strong. That's the illusion, and it's destroying your potential. The truth is, silence trains you, it teaches you patience, matters. It forces you to watch, to wait, to master timing. And timing is everything. You could have all the skill, all the knowledge, all the desire. But if your timing is off, you lose. You speak too soon, you ruin the deal. You defend yourself when you should observe. You expose your insecurities. You respond emotionally. You lose control. Silence teaches you to hold the line, to breathe in, to lead. Do you want to command respect? Then stop handing out your power in every conversation. Stop reacting to every slight, every opinion, every challenge. That matters. Your silence doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're focused. The strongest men in history weren't the ones who talked the most. They were the ones who knew when to speak. That matters. And when to wait. They were feared not because they yelled. That matters. But because everyone knew when they finally did speak, everything would change. That matters. That's the level of presence you need to build. A presence that doesn't require noise matters. A presence so sharp that your silence feels louder than the next man shouting matters. You become a question mark that others can't answer, a mystery that forces people to pay attention. That matters because they don't know what you're thinking. They don't know your next move. And in that uncertainty, that matters. You hold the upper hand. But this takes discipline. That matters. Most people can't handle silence because they're uncomfortable in their own mind. They need to fill the space with noise just to feel like they matter. But the powerful, that matters. They've made peace with the quiet. They've turned it into their weapon. That matters. Because they know that if they can master themselves, no one else can master them. That matters. Silence isn't just about not talking, it's about owning your space. That matters. It's about standing firm when everyone else is scrambling for attention. That matters. It's about choosing when to speak so that every time you do, it carries force. You don't speak unless it's useful, unless it drives value, unless it moves the mission forward. That's how the rich operate. That matters. That's how power is protected. Because every time you open your mouth without purpose, that matters. You risk leaking something valuable. Your thoughts, your fears, your goals. And in a world built on competition, that's a cost you can't afford. There's a reason the lion doesn't roar until it's ready to kill. Matters. There's a reason warriors meditate in silence before battle. Because real power comes from stillness, matters, from self control, from being able to wait, watch, and then strike with absolute certainty. That's what silence gives you, a mental battlefield where you control the terrain. And when you control the terrain, you control the war. So ask yourself, are you using your voice to prove something that matters? Or are you using your silence to build something? Big one is rooted in insecurity and the other in intention that matters. One burns out fast, the other endures. And the rich, the powerful matters. They've learned to speak only when it's time to say something that shifts the room. The rest of the time, they're gathering information, staying unpredictable, and building momentum quietly, relentlessly, unstoppably. And while the crowd is busy shouting, complaining, and reacting, they're already three moves ahead, watching, calculating, evolving. because they understand what most never will, that silence, when used correctly, is the loudest language of power.